Time for a quadratic problem. Joe drove his car 300 miles from Arizona to California at an average speed. Had his average speed been 10 miles per hour greater, the trip would have taken an hour less. What was his average speed? So we know we have two different possibilities here. We have one possibility where he went 10 miles over his average speed and it took him an hour less, and one at an average speed at the expected time. But the most important thing here is that either way he went 300 miles. So we know that distance equals rate times time. But if you rearrange that, it says rate equals distance over time. So we know here that his rate and his average time, average speed went 300 over t. The second one was r plus 10 equals 300 over t minus 1. And then when we move that over here, we can say that these two r's are the same. So we can say 300 over t equals 300 over t minus 1 minus 10. So now, just to make everything positive, because it's easier to look at, we say 300 over t plus 10 equals 300 over t minus 1. Now it's just lowest common denominator. So now we say that 300 t minus 300 over t times t minus 1 plus 10 times t times t minus 1 equals 300 t over t times t minus 1. So now basically we can say that 300 t So I changed my mind. Let's make this a little bit more simple now that we've got common denominators and such. So let's say, let's bring this over here. Oops. Bring this back here. Let's say that this goes over here. 300 t minus 300 plus 10 t squared minus 10 t equals 300 t. So now it's just combining like terms, and we actually end up with 10 t squared minus 10t minus 300. So now we have two different options. We can either use the quadratic formula, which we could, or we could also just factor this. And I would factor this if I were you, because it makes it a lot easier. So what's a common factor here? Well, I can tell you 10 is definitely one of them. So if we factor 10 out of all of this stuff, we come up with t squared minus t minus 30. Not that that matters anymore. So all we have to do now is just split this into two x's, and we will say that, well, t's in this case, I suppose. So t minus what, and t plus what. So we would say t minus 6 and t plus 5, because if you FOIL that out, you'll find that negative 6 plus 5 is negative 1, and negative 6 times 5 is negative 30. So that means that our possibility, or not x, t equals 6, or t equals negative 5. But in this case, we can rule out t minus 5, because when we're looking for a positive answer, a negative answer would not help. So if we know that the rate equals 300 miles over t, which we know in this case is 6, we would know that his average speed was 50 miles per hour. Pretty cool, huh? Stuff is very useful. So I'd like to clarify something. If his average speed, we were asked to solve for t. However, we found out that his average speed was 50 miles per hour, which is the correct answer. And we'll do more quadratic problems because they're actually very, very, very useful.